Hi everyone, I am Sonam, based right here in Toronto, Canada. I break down global politics in a clear, balanced, and educational way. Welcome back to my channel. Here I'm going to show you some clips and then we go from there.
It's so funny, and then he writes bitter on the board.
So then what do you do?
That's crazy. As someone who grew up in China, I can tell you that Chinese propaganda is not as obvious as you might think. I'm going to show you a clip from someone who presented himself as a professor. He's not, by the way. He is a high school teacher at Beijing's top high school, and this is from one of his classes. In this particular class, he talks about capitalism, why it's flawed, why it's doomed and evil, and why communism is the inevitable solution and it's good for us all. And if your first reaction is, oh, there's no way I'm going to be convinced by this, you might be surprised.
Traditionally or historically, there have been three answers. The first is war. The second is religion. And the third is civilization.
Very quickly, just a reminder, he keeps calling himself Professor Jang, but he actually does not have the qualification to be a professor. This is one of those things where, the internet is so crazy that you can call yourself a professor even without the qualifications. So he actually graduated with a bachelor degree in English literature to sort of rush the algorithm as if it was a coordinated effort behind his popularity. This is truly the ultimate soft power play. The Chinese Communist Party's propaganda strategy has evolved. They no longer emphasize on hiring people simply just to talk up China all the time. They're looking for the well-spoken, English-speaking influencers with Ivy League degrees who can play the role of the neutral academic, because you project more credibility when you appear to be objective. And Professor Jang gives the CCP exactly that. He is a gatekeeper. And I think his journey of becoming a tool for China's soft power play globally is a perfect example of how the Chinese Communist Party has been successfully taming and turning its global
March
critics.
20th, Tucker Carlson aired an interview with Jiang. I call him Professor Jiang, but he's really not a professor. He's a Canadian Chinese. His Chinese name is Jiang Xueqin. Soon after, several independent U.S. outlets, including Breaking Points, followed up with their own interviews, I believe. So within just a few days, these appearances accumulated over 8 million views. And just like that, this Beijing-based English-speaking YouTuber was propelled into the center of American public discourse, Beijing. And yet he operates a YouTube channel from within China. So how did he rise so quickly? The immediate trigger can be traced back to a classroom video he uploaded on May 29th, 2024. In that video, he made three predictions. First, that Donald Trump would win the 2024 election. Second, that the United States will go to war with Iran after Trump wins. Third, that the United States will ultimately lose that war. Because the first two predictions have come true.
So who is Jiang Xueqin, often called Professor Jang, or China's Nostradamus? Is a Chinese Canadian educator and YouTube influencer known for his channel Predictive History. He analyzes geopolitics through historical patterns and game theory. Born in China in 1976, he immigrated with his family in Toronto, Canada, at age 6. But he excelled academically, earning a scholarship to Yale University, where he studied BA in English Literature and Philosophy. In 2002, while working as a journalist, documentary filmmaker in China, filming labor protests for PBS, He was arrested, detained for 48 hours, and deported by Chinese authorities on suspicion of illegal filming and espionage. Right after a year, he returned to Beijing, work on education reform, high school teaching at place like Xingqiu, Peking University affiliated school, and Moonshot Academy, and built his YouTube channel. Is he a Chinese spy? The fact that he lives and operates openly in Beijing as a Canadian with the past deportation record. In China's tightly controlled environment, producing English language content for Western audience that emphasizes overreach and civilizational pessimism without being shut down raises eyebrows. Some call this useful to CCP soft power, whether intentional or not. His fame exploded from 2024 lecture, where he made three bold forecasts on Donald Trump and America politics. Can you use Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Google, Twitter in China? No way. China government runs the Great Firewall, a massive internet censorship system that blocks these platforms. Only government approved VPNs are fully legal. The pattern: soft power first, then pressure and espionage. The CCP uses its United Front Work Department, often called its magic weapon, as a smart step-by-step strategy to influence overseas Chinese communities. It starts nicely and can turn coercive later. In short, the tactic is win hearts first with kindness and culture, then guide or pressure for useful actions. China has set up over 100 overseas police service stations. These are often run through community group or hometown associations, not official embassies. United Front tactics: building ties with overseas Chinese communities, influence operation, using people in key roles like journalists or media get funding, support for pro-Beijing coverage. Businessmen may act as proxies for deals or lobbying. Diplomats, the coordinate influence, sometimes pushing narratives or pressure critics. Under the table, there are so many documented cases of bribery, illicit funding, donation to politicians, perks to gain favors, seen in Australia, Pacific Island, and some Belt and Road projects. Transnational repression. Transnational repression, it lets the CCP exports its control globally, mixing influence ops with intimidation. These tactics extend to manipulating and controlling overseas Chinese communities. So sad the world can't do anything. 160 Tibetans have set themselves on fire in protest against China's operations. The CCP is snatching Tibetan children as young as 6 from their families, forcing them into colonial boarding school to erase their language and culture, and collecting DNA to accelerate assimilation. And the world remains powerless to act. So sad. CCP lies, people die. Thank you for watching my channel. See you soon.